Simon Wallace, I'm the head of European real estate research at DWS. DWS, a global investor, over 50 billion euros of assets under management, around half of that in Europe. And we've been active in the CEE market for well over a decade now. Big investors in, particularly in the Polish market, but also Czech and Hungary.
Okay, good. And Kasia, I mean, just in terms of, you're obviously active in those CE markets. We've heard a little bit about the European context there from Tom, but how do you see the comparisons between Poland, Hungary, Czech, and Romania? I mean, how do you see that? How do you see those in terms of the current market, price, yield, those kinds of things? What's your sense of that?
Of course, as we've heard when Tom was presenting, that the biggest interest is attracted by Poland, but it's mostly because of the scale of operations and the biggest stock we are having out there. Yes, Prague or Budapest are equally interesting, and or even like Prague perceived as the most stable market in the region. It's just a matter of availability of the good product. So that's how I would say. And Romania is, I think, a rising star at the moment, giving like a really good gap compared to the yields that we are having in Warsaw or in Prague. In like Warsaw, Prague top products are priced at 4.5, 4.25. That's what we are seeing on the market, and it's still giving you the premium towards the Western countries. And at the same time, you have stability, great access to the educated population. In the region itself, it's like 80 million people, so you have a huge pool of great talent. At the same time, we are part of EU, having the same legislation, so it's stable, predictive market, which is giving you the premium towards the Western Europe. So that's why we are attracting a lot of interest, and that's what we can see for over a decade, that there is a growing interest, and the diversity of investors is growing also year by year, as you've seen also in Tom's presentation.
Okay, good. And Simon, in terms of your business, looking at the CE, which markets are you active in? Where are you investing, and where are you more kind of researching to see the opportunities?
Yeah, so where we're active in Poland, we're active in Hungary. Haven't been active in Czech for a little while now, but it's no particular reason for that. We're not yet there with Romania. I'd say for us as a core investor, many of our capital sources would push back against Romania today. I think from a research perspective, we're happy to look into the market and we're happy to investigate there, but I think the risk profile of Romania doesn't yet fit that sort of core German capital today.
And is that in terms of, I mean, is the risk more around political risk? Is it around size, liquidity in the market?
Yeah, I think it's more transparency, liquidity in the market today. And I completely agree, the yield is very attractive in Romania today, but again, if we can't fully understand the market today, it's not for our sort of capital.
What I can add here is that we've just recently seen the change of the government in Romania, and that the real push towards the transparency on the market. So that I hope will convince the market and the investors, you guys, to go there and invest, because it's really the market that will give you the huge premium. And the great product itself, because there is no sacrifice on the quality of the product, and you have fantastic people that are well educated, serving a lot of BPOs, shared service centers, which are being opened out there. It's over 2.5 million square meters of modern office space, so it is the market to go.
Okay, good. And very interesting, the data on the Korean capital, because we've all heard about Korean capital coming into the market, not just in Poland, but very interesting to see how active that has been just in the last year. What's your sense of that capital? And this is to either of you really. What's your sense of that capital, and also how that compares with the German capital that's been, obviously a big key investor?
I think from our perspective, Korean capital is becoming an increasing presence across the whole of Europe at the moment, very much targeting London a few years ago, very much spread across the whole of Europe at the moment. I think as a result of that capital is more educated on the market, more willing to go into new parts of Europe. And also I think what that Korean capital is increasingly attracted by as well is perhaps that yield premium that you're getting in CEE today. You know, when you're looking at maybe 100 to 150 basis points premium over what you're going to get in a German city today, if you're looking for a solid cash return, you like the asset, you're still buying prime. That's very, very attractive to what I was hearing last week. I was over in Korea and Japan last week, and that was very much the message I was getting, that a good solid income return is what is a key driver here.
And that's interesting. So you were in Korea last week?
I was.
And what was their view on European markets more generally? And did they express a view particularly about CE and why they were more active in that market?
I think in terms of a general view on the market, I think they're hearing a lot of noise around Europe, but that's certainly not preventing Korean capital coming into the European market. They're often there for the long term, and therefore we're looking to look beyond perhaps the noise around Brexit or perhaps the noise around a slowing macroeconomic environment. In terms of the CE, again, willing to take that long-term position, seeing the growth in the CE market, looking at the economic fundamentals, seeing 3% annual growth, looking very attractive perhaps compared to more mature Western markets.
And I was interested to see also in the slide there, Tom, about the regional markets, particularly in Poland. Kasia, has there been a change over recent times that there's now more of an institutional market, more of a liquid market in regional Polish cities?
Definitely. When we took a decision to go for the regions in 2006, I think we were the first ones to really decide to go there. It was quite a brave move. And of course, the pool of investors interested in investing in regional cities was rather limited. Today, no one have any doubts that that's the direction to go. First of all, you are having a broader access to the great talents, and that's what makes CE and Poland in particular very interesting to BPO shared service centers, that we have a broad pool of well-educated talent. So today we are not discussing that we are competing with India, for example, for the processes and the services that are being located, but it's more competition with the Western countries when we are relocating highly skilled services to the region and having multiple locations. It makes us more comparable to Germany, that is not developing only through the capital city but with multiple metropolitan cities, and that makes the Poland more resilient and sustainable.
And that's interesting. I mean, I think that comparison with the German federal system is quite an interesting one. And do you think as these regional cities develop more and potentially Polish capital develops more, domestic capital, is that going to give investors, I suppose, more confidence to invest also in those regional cities in Poland?
I think investors are fairly confident to move into the regional cities in Poland already. I think we've certainly been there. You look at the fundamentals of many of those cities, again growing strongly, but also office markets that aren't necessarily oversupplied. I think one area that we are looking very closely into, and Tom mentioned this about sort of the niche or the alternative sectors, they're not being a huge part of the market today. I think we would love to be in Polish residential, and we would love to be in Polish student housing, for example. The difficulty we have today is very much a currency issue. So it's about these rents coming in zlotys. As we've got the zlotys, for us, we're getting a 200 basis point drag on our performance. But nonetheless, if we can overcome that, let's say the current, that's a temporary issue, for example, then again, I think that will provide more access to those regional markets as well.
Okay, that's great. And I know this seems incredibly short, but we've got a very short time frame because we know that we're going to have drinks very shortly. But thanks for that. That was, an incredible amount of insights in a very short space of time. And very convenient that you were in Korea last week, Simon. So that's fantastic. Great. Good. What I'm going to do now is Kasia, just invite you to introduce Adrian to the stage, because I think that then we can look a little bit more about the research report and then invite everybody for drinks. Kasia.
Yeah, so Adrian, it's our transactions guy. If you want to talk any details of any deal about Skanska, what we are doing in the CEE region, that's the guy to call.
Yes, so first of all, thank you, Kasia. We are very proud because this is 5th year we are producing this Central European Investment Report. This time we had a deep dive into the metropolities of Central and Western Europe. we have actually taken an advice from lots of research from different universities about the cities and the importance of cities, but also from the different angle, from the investor side, where the investors they seem to change a bit the strategy from the countries towards cities, which is a very interesting aspect of the current investment climate. So we have analyzed the cities from different angles: educational, connectivity, and first of all, productivity. And tomorrow we are actually launching this report, which we call Thriving Metropolises of Central Europe. And we are inviting you to take one of these small business cards where there is a QR code, and tomorrow you can download an electronic version. So, of course, we are happy here to discuss the report a little bit further, but I don't want to take too much time from the stage and invite you for the more entertaining part. Thank you.
I can tell you that I had a chance to go through the report yesterday evening, and it's incredibly interesting, especially the part where you can see the economists saying about the global economy and the role the cities are playing in the global ecosystem, same as investors saying like what are the reasons why they decided to go for the multiple metropolis in the region. So yeah, I highly recommend you to go through that.
Of course, it is important to mention that the report has been done in cooperation with our partners, Dentons and Colliers. So it has, besides the real estate aspects, also some tax and legal, and of course, lots of insights from Colliers about the comparison of Central Europe to Western Europe when it comes to investment. So I really encourage you, and I give you the floor to you.
Great.